Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This is my boomstick.
Here's Johnny.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Righteous! Righteous! Yeah!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Houston, we have a problem.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Those Film Nerds podcast. My name is Will Spalding, and as always, I am joined by the world's greatest pianist of the 1950s, Sam Dierberger. Sam, what's going on?
Thank you. Yeah, I was the greatest of the 50s, and then Liberace came around in the 60s, and so I was second greatest in the 60s, which you failed to mention, but that's fine. But 50s were a good era to be the best pianist in the world.
No, not bad at all.
No, not bad at all. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing well. How are you, Will?
Good. You know, I it's funny. I thought of I think I'm just gonna start doing that bit. Every episode, I'm just gonna introduce you as something tangentially related to what the movie is, and so you're gonna have a new occupation probably like every week, which is cool.
I'm a man of many talents.
Right. Well, hey, I teased it, I guess. I mean, I suppose I'm probably gonna be teasing it every week from here on out. But Sam, what little film are we talking this week?
Oh my God, it's a new record. I mean, what has it been like? It hasn't even been a minute.
Okay, yeah, you're right. We'll sit in silence for a little bit, just to get.
So skip forward about 15 minutes. We're gonna sit in silence and really ponder our show opening from here on out. But anyway, all right. So now that you skipped 15 minutes, I'm ready to introduce what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about the movie Green Book.
Yeah, some guy called over here, a doctor. He's looking for a driver. You interested?
I am not a medical doctor. I'm a musician. I'm about to embark on a concert tour in the Deep South. What other experience do you have?
Public relations.
Do you foresee any issues in working for a black man?
You in the Deep South? There's gonna be problems.
Promise me you're gonna write me a letter.
Promise.
Yes, Green Book. We said it off the air, but Sam, greatest movie since you said Shape of Water.
Certainly since Shape of Water.
Right.
Certainly.
And I really don't know what would have bested it since, other than I Care a Lot.
I Care a Lot. Yeah.
Last year's Eurovision. I mean,
Eurovision might have something to say about that.
It might.
Hubie Halloween, I mean, might be a little inferior to all of these. But they're all in the same universe. You know, it's like when I think greatest movies of the 21st century, I think Green Book, Hubie Halloween, I Care a Lot, you know,
right.
Shape of Water,
right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because two of those have been nominated and won Best Picture. We won't say which two, but
I feel like we already give the Academy so much. Maybe not praise. Maybe praise is too strong a word. Perhaps we give the Academy too much validity here on the show. I mean, we've only done about 500 Oscars episodes, anticipating, covering, reflecting on the Oscars. It's like, yeah, you know, the Oscars are just composed of human beings, and human beings are very much fallible.
Not us. Our opinion.
Not us. We are gods.
Yeah.
But the Academy, sometimes the Academy makes mistakes.
Right. It is funny you say that because there is a large crowd out there that has kind of fallen back and says that the Academy is not what it once was. It seems like, and this can kind of transition into our Green Book talk, but it seems like the Academy, I mean, we obviously know they love a good narrative. They love a story, not in terms of a movie, but in terms of how a movie was made and its story of why it should win an award. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Oscar bait,
Yes, correct. And it also seems like the Academy is usually behind by a year. That seems weird to say, but it's like, we'll talk about what other movies were nominated in this specific year for the award of Best Picture. And in my opinion, this winning over something else directly influences what happened in the next year, and we can maybe talk about that a little bit too. But it seems like they're always a year behind and that kind of thing. But Sam, we've teased it a lot. We're kind of doing this light retrospective. Maybe we'll eventually get through a bunch more of these. We're obviously doing the Best Picture winners. We're working backwards. We covered Nomadland, not even intentional or not even for a Best Picture series necessarily, but just covered it. We did Parasite maybe 3 months ago. I'm not really sure. And now we're on to Green Book.
Yeah.
Now we're on to Green Book.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of run the YouTube channel around here. I mean, me and the interns, I just kind of supervise them.
Right.
But,
yes. They report to you.
They report to me in the YouTube section, the YouTube department. But yeah, I mean, I need to put together like a playlist of Best Picture retrospectives.
That'll be interesting. That would be interesting. Especially if we could go back further. Yeah.
I have them all together, but based on our average, we're at like once every 3 months. So we'll get through all of them. I don't know.
30 years.
About 30, 40 years.
That's good. That's a solid rate. I want to ask you, Sam, how many have you seen of the 93?
Oh my God. I don't know. Not enough.
Pull out your Letterboxd stats. I know you're what is it? Pro? I think it's called Pro.
I am a pro. People take advantage of that Black Friday deal.
Yeah, dude, I might upgrade to Patron. I don't know. We'll see.
Patron is expensive though. Isn't Patron like $50?
Yeah, I think it's like 49. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm at 33% here. I'm really inexperienced. I really am. I've seen every Best Picture winner since 2012 for sure. I haven't seen The Artist.
Oh, dude, best silent film since. Well, let's just say best silent film of the decade.
Dude, the tagline on The Artist is "a breath of fresh vintage air."
It's terrible. I shouldn't say it's terrible, but it's not.
That's pretty bad.
It's not super but yes, let's get into Green Book a little bit here.
Okay, fair enough.
You're like, okay, well,
fair enough. I guess it is technically a Best Picture winner.
Yes, it technically is. Let's I guess let's just get into it. Green Book, I'll start off by saying, was nominated for 5 awards. It won 3 of them, including Original Screenplay, Supporting Actor for Mahershala Ali, and Picture. And then that was nominated and lost Actor for Viggo Mortensen and Film Editing. So, Sam, what do you just right off the top? What do you think of those 5? Which ones are deserving? Which ones aren't? Not even necessarily a win, just nomination wise.
I mean, Ali is a very good actor.
Of course, man.
2
wins. That's impressive.
2 wins. I think anything he's in, really. I mean, I shouldn't say this about anyone, actually, but I'll say it about him. Anything he's in, no matter the role, I mean, I think is worthy of certainly a nomination.
Yeah, he's really good, man.
So I don't have a problem with that. Essentially, anything else that it was nominated for, I probably wouldn't support just
You could probably
because
throw that away. Okay.
you can just throw that away. I mean, I don't think the script is anything special. I think anyone, well, not anyone, but I think a lot of people could have written this script.
Sure.
I think the movie itself is not that great, if you haven't detected that yet. And yeah, I remember watching it the first time, and maybe I came at it with a little bit of, I don't know, aggression, because there was this undergird. It was generally well liked. It was kind of a crowd pleaser, but there was this undergirding kind of feeling of resentment towards it, and I kind of bought into that because it was just so boring. It just seemed like a typical, historical film.
So it's interesting you say that. You say crowd pleaser, and it certainly is. I think there's two sides to this movie. It's you watch it and you think, yeah, that was good. That was really good. Like,
Yeah.
Good job, America. And we'll talk about that in a little bit too. And the other side is your side, and that is, this movie kind of stinks just because it's very paint by numbers. It's very cookie cutter, and we've seen this 1,000 times. Let's just do it this way.
Yeah.
So I know what you're saying for sure. I do actually. I think this is a good movie. Do I think it should have won Best Picture? Probably not. No, but I think it has merit, and I think it's well made to a point where, again, like I say, probably shouldn't have won Best Picture, but I think it should be considered a good movie. I don't think it's bad by any means. I think it approaches its subject matter pretty poorly, and I think that's the reason it's not great. But sure. Again, we'll get into that. Sam, do you have any pluses aside from Ali?
That's tough. That really is. I mean,
it's endlessly rewatchable. You do 3-4 times a week. So
3-4 times a week. When I'm feeling lonely, I put on Green Book. When I'm feeling happy, I put on Green Book.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like my Pulp Fiction,
Absolutely. And you show it to everyone you know. I mean,
it's comfort food.
You just put it on for people. You're like, have you seen Green Book? Oh, you got to check it out.
You got. In fact, let me pull out my 4K copy right now.
4K.
No, I mean, even Viggo Mortensen is kind of bad in this. Not bad, but just
he's very stereotypical.
He's capable of so much more.
Yeah.
And you could have gotten anyone for the role. That's really how I judge casting. I'm like, yeah, maybe they're good in it, but it's like, did I need Viggo Mortensen to play this role? No, right. Not at all. And it doesn't help that I think the character is poorly written. I think all of Tony Lip, who's Viggo's character, I think his entire family is very poorly written, actually. And the people they meet along the way are very black and white. I mean, no pun intended, but very black and white. There's not a whole lot of moral ambiguity here. And it's just not that engaging. It sits at 130 minutes, which is far too long.
Yeah, that's a little long for what this is. I will agree with you there.
I think generally 130 minutes is long for a movie. And I'm picky about that, but especially for something like this, my God, I'm trying to be positive here, Will.
Yeah, these are Sam's positive thoughts.
These are my positive thoughts. Yeah.
No, you're right. I'll kind of get into my positives. I do think this is a well-made movie. I think it's well shot. I think it's it's edited enough.
Sure.
To be good. I think technically there's a lot of upside to this movie. The fact that it won for screenplay is kind of ridiculous. I think that's the most kind of egregiously bad part of this movie. You know, we're telling a story of acceptance here, right, Sam? A story of acceptance and equality of all people, specifically Black people, through the eyes of a white dude, which is, you know, that's not great. I think I would have liked this movie a lot better if Mortensen were the supporting and Ali was the main actor. But instead, you're kind of like, okay, what if we put the black guy in the back of the car, the white guy in the front of the car, and let the white guy do most of the talking? You're like, okay, but this isn't really the point.
Right.
I think it's approached poorly. I honestly think if you rework your approach and then do a couple passes on the script, obviously, I think this is a lot better movie and potentially even deserving of the coveted award of Best Picture. But for how it's laid out, of the main character not being who the main character should be, is to a T kind of honestly even a little disrespectful in some senses. So I would just say it's well made, but not well approached would be the main criticism that I have. And honestly, the approach is a lot of stereotypes as well that you've mentioned.
But this is my great frustration with the movie, because it could have been so much more, because I get what it was trying to do. Well, maybe it wasn't trying to do this, but it had an opportunity to do this and it didn't.
Sure, go for it.
Which was approach racism from the perspective of someone who is racist. You know, we have Viggo Mortensen, Tony Lip, who is very
awesome name, by the way.
Tony Lip. He's just very very openly racist, and I'm like, well, we could get something there. We could see a conversion story. We could see, you know, how he comes to terms with respecting everyone for their own individual human dignity and not prejudging them based on the color of their skin. But instead, what we get is just this like dumb, like, oh, the real friends were the people we met along the way. Like, it's just like they go on this journey through the South, and there's nothing that like the character of Tony Lip is like, the only change he undergoes is racist to not racist. And then in terms of what's his name? No. What's his character's name? Dr. Don Shirley. Dr. Shirley does not change even slightly.
No, I'll push back on that a little bit. I think he does.
Okay.
He's very closed. He is reserved and shut off to basically everyone, and he does open up by the end of the movie. Maybe it's not done well, but you know, he's kind of at the beginning of the movie, he's not trusting anyone, not really even talking. And then by the end of the movie, he's opened up to Tony Lip as his friend. So I'll push back a little bit, but I do understand what you're saying as a whole.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, fair enough. But I also feel that that's just like a natural progression of, you know, two people. I mean, they're driving in a car together for a few months. Like,
yeah. You're eventually going to open up. I get that.
You're just eventually going to go, oh, you know, he doesn't undergo any fundamental change. And that's not, I understand this was based on a true story. Like, I'm not knocking the true story because it's a beautiful story. It's just, I wish it could have been done more dramatically, because ultimately at the end of the day, you are making a movie. You know, you can make a documentary about this trip if you want to stick to the facts, but I wish actually more liberties were taken factually.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know,
it would have been more interesting to see, you know?
Correct. You know, your job is a true story. I mean, you want to tell the story. I get that. And you want to stay true, but I mean, your main job is to tell a story, not the story. You know, at times that's done really well, and at times it's not done super well. I think back to The Blind Side is a pretty good example of a story that is based on a true story, but I just think The Blind Side is a bad movie.
Yeah.
So that'd be an example of where it's not done effectively. But you know, we see probably 4 or 5 movies a year that are based on true stories that are pretty good. I suppose, you know, Tarantino does it the best. I mean, it's not like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is based on a true story, but there's true events, and you're just telling a story. It's kind of like that. That's not the same thing, but you're right.
Yeah.
Take some liberties, create your own story inside of this already pretty miraculous story.
Right. And it's interesting that you mentioned The Blind Side, because that's another film, probably that along with this movie, Green Book. They're the two films that get hit very hard by the media, criticizing their, I guess the term is like white savior overtones.
Yeah.
Which is the idea that, like, you know, these poor oppressed, you know, black people need white people to bring them up and save them, which is a criticism that, I mean, to a certain degree, I understand. But also it's like when you're talking about historical events like in Green Book, I mean, yeah, that's just the definition of oppressed peoples. Like, you need non-oppressed peoples to bring them out of oppression. Like, that's just a natural consequence of how things work.
I think you can show it a little better as well, though.
Yes. Right. No, I'm just talking about that term.
Yeah.
In this movie, it's displayed horribly because it's not like Tony Lip has any particular power beyond him just being an Italian American man from New York. Like,
well,
he's not.
He likes to eat a lot, Sam.
He likes food. Mm. And that's the thing. Like, take his race out of it, he's just a boring character. Like, he's stereotypical. He's Italian American. He lives in the Bronx.
Yeah, the Bronx.
He's Catholic and he likes to eat pasta. Like,
and hot dogs. He eats hot dogs.
He eats hot dogs. He uses colorful language. I don't know. And this is what I'm getting at. Okay. This is what I'm saying is it's like the Academy heard the premise of this movie and gave it Best Picture.
Yeah, didn't see the movie and was just like, yeah, wow.
Because they heard
great 2-sentence summary.
Like, they heard black person, early 1960s, and white person, early 1960s, friendship.
Yeah.
And they're like, sign me up. They didn't watch the movie. Yeah. It seems to me, because I was watching this, I'm like, why did the Academy, like, this doesn't feel like something the Academy would approve of for whatever reason. There's certain points where I'm just like,
yeah,
the Academy to be in favor of.
Did you see this movie before or after it won Best Picture?
I think I saw it after. What about you?
I honestly don't know. I think it was before, but it could have been after. It'd have been like a month before or a month after. I can't really recall, but I was just curious if you had, going into the movie, a bias towards it because it won Best Picture or whatever. Good or bad bias doesn't matter, but just any sort of bias. I wasn't sure.
I mean, I generally have a negative bias towards things that win Best Picture. So that might be part of it, you know?
Yeah, that's true. You and I both are kind of the pushback on things sometimes. Don't like the popular thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, we saw it just now in 2020. I mean, like, Nomadland. I think we both agree. Like of those nominees, I thought that Nomadland was
probably the
was
worst.
weakest.
Yeah.
Like, it's not bad. It's just I think we agreed that it was the weakest. So I mean, like, even after seeing all of the nominees, I think that's a strange
Minari.
pick. So
yeah, it is the weakest.
yeah, all of this is
Maybe
to say
Sound of
that like, yeah, I didn't quite care for Sound of Metal. You're right, but all this to say is to say that like our bias towards Best Picture winners is not unfounded, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'll defend myself being prejudiced against Green Book. What are the other positive aspects? Like what else did you enjoy about this movie necessarily? Because I recall you giving it a very high rating.
You know, I was really high on it when I first watched it, and that's a good point you make. One of the main reasons is I love two things I love to see in movies. For whatever reason I love a road trip movie, which this obviously is. I think road trips are kind of a romanticized fantasy thing, and they're always fun to see put to screen.
Sure.
Usually lends to dialogue heavy movies, which I'm a fan of. Not, maybe this dialogue isn't the best, but I still like dialogue. So that's part of it. And also I'm a sucker for an unlikely friendship. I know we already talked about that a little bit. And maybe this is the most unlikely and is not realistic at all, whatever. And you use the Oscar bait term too. And that's part of the Oscar bait is this unlikely friendship. And, I guess I fell for it at the moment. Those would be probably my two biggest things of why I just enjoy this movie. It's funny to say, but I almost think Green Book, because you're right. You say, hey, I really like Green Book. And in the circles that we run in and you're kind of looked at funny. Do you know what I mean? Like, really?
Yeah.
So it'd be weird to say that this would almost be like a guilty pleasure for me, a guilty pleasure that won 3 Oscars.
I mean, I guess there are worse guilty pleasures, but
yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I saw this movie like 1 3/4 times. For some reason, I caught like the back 3/4 of it. And then was like, man, I gotta see that whole thing, and then watched it. But it's a weird way to watch it. But
yeah,
I think that'd be the main thing. Those two or three reasons are why I really like it. And like I said earlier, I do think it is well made. Minus a few aspects, like you said, mostly writing. I feel like we're the writing critics on this in the world. I feel like we talk about writing so often.
Yeah, we got to make sure we don't get too similar to our writing podcast here.
Yeah, true statement.
So we try to focus on the movies, but sometimes,
it bleeds over. Yeah,
it bleeds over. We just have too many podcasts going on. But, I don't look. I mean, it's Green Book. It's in a strange way, it kind of reminds me of Joker.
Okay, interesting. As I call
it is strange, the same way. I think we've talked about Joker before, and I think we both have like the same outlook on Joker, which is, of course, one of the greatest Letterboxd reviews of all time. If you've never swam in the ocean, then of course the pool feels deep.
That's fantastic. I remember
that's like Joker in a sentence, right? It's like, yeah, I mean, it's water, like you're swimming,
Yeah, good job. Way to go, Todd. Way to go, Todd Phillips.
Like it exposes people to the water.
No, but Sam, they're kicking him when he's down.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, in the subway, he's down on the ground and they're kicking him. Yeah. So you probably missed that.
I don't. The same way Joker is like a more like a lower resolution Taxi Driver or King of Comedy or something like that with these anti-heroes, right? Is the same way that like Green Book is a lower resolution, like crowd pleasing movie. Now, the only difference is that, of course, like, you know, the anti-hero genre that Joker is kind of a part of is like its own niche of cinema, right?
Right.
Whereas Green Book is this lower resolution crowd pleasing film. So it's almost like a starter film. Like, it's like, I am new to movies, period. Like, I don't know how to get into them. You would show someone like that Green Book.
Yeah, an accessible, well-made enough movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
you're not like, okay, let's sit down and watch The Godfather. Or
right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Apocalypse Now.
But it's not even it's not even it's not even in the same genre as the Godfather.
You're right. I get that.
It's in this like middle of the road, like, I'm trying to think of like a better example of this like crowd pleasing, easy going movie.
Man,
like,
I don't. Something like Black Klansman, maybe. Again, I know it's not the same genre, but it is a crowd pleasing movie. Black Klansman. I'm just trying to relate it to this year we're talking about.
Right. But it doesn't have to be this year. You can say any movie.
I understand that.
You know, like, it's
maybe like an Argo.
You could say like an Argo. Yeah, sure. I just watched it for the first time. Yeah. Like,
Argo is definitely a crowd pleaser.
Yeah. And it's a superior movie. So, I mean, like, yeah, that's part of it. Like, or like, you know, even like a La La Land or something like that. Like, it just,
yeah. Yep.
It's so low resolution. Like, it's just,
yeah.
That's
why your 4K copy helps out so much.
Well, yeah, I mean, you need to watch it. I mean, it was filmed like garbage, so and I will mention too that the cinematography is quite good in this. I mean, there's some beautiful shots of the southern countryside, but
that's what I mean. I think a lot of this is if you were to show individual stills or scenes in the movie, I think you could take something from it, if that makes sense. I think you'd get something from it and you'd say, oh, okay, cool. That was kind of cool.
Right.
And I still enjoy this movie, I should say, but maybe as a whole, it doesn't quite work for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's just where I'm at with it. I don't. It's.
Yeah, that's fair. That's real fair. But as a anyway,
sorry.
Yeah, I got you back now. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as we kind of wrap up here, I do want to talk about this year as a whole, though. We teased it earlier, have a couple times. I talked earlier about how it seems like the Academy loves a narrative, but sometimes they're behind, you know. And this year, I'll just mention the other Best Picture nominees here real quick. We had Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Black Panther, Black Klansman, Vice, A Star Is Born, Roma, and then the winner, Green Book. Sam, of those 8, how many have you seen? Do you need me to listen again?
So Bohemian Rhapsody, I saw the first half hour of, and I legitimately had to shut off.
Yeah, I liked Bohemian Rhapsody the first time I saw it because I think I'm a big Queen fan. I think I was just enthralled in it. I watched it the second time, and I thought, oh boy, this is rough. This is really rough.
Like, you think I thought that Green Book was bad? Oh my God. I'm glad I didn't sit through Bohemian Rhapsody because I detest I detested that first half hour. I was like, oh my God. And it just made me angrier and angrier that everyone was going to see it. Like that summer 2018, everyone went and saw Bohemian Rhapsody, right? Like,
Yeah, I think it was late spring, and I saw it and did like it, and then rewatched it and thought, "Ooh, this is kind of rough. This is pretty bad."
mm-hmm.
So Bohemian Rhapsody, you've half seen that. The Favorite,
The Favorite, I've never seen.
I think you'd like that. Black Panther, you have not. I know that. Black Klansman, I know you've seen. Correct.
I liked Black Klansman. I had some stuff to say about Spike Lee because Spike Lee is he's like him and I don't eye to eye on a lot of things, but that man can make a movie. So.
Man, I'm a huge NBA fan, and the NBA finals are on right now, and he does like probably like a 4-minute video that he directs and they throw it like the minutes before the game starts, and even like those 4-minute videos, I'm like, gosh, these are so cool. He just knows how to do stuff. So this might be an ideal time to tell my dad's like go for it.
My dad's Spike Lee story, which is very brief. He was at my dad went to this, like, my dad's in the marketing business, and like back in the 90s they had this conference. He was working for General Mills up here in Minnesota, and they had like this conference, right? And everyone was there like because they were launching, a new box of Wheaties or whatever, and
sure.
MJ was there and all these sports people, and this guy got up and gave these like marketing strategies, these new initiatives, gave this great talk for like an hour, and then next the main event of the night was Spike Lee. Spike Lee was going to go up and give a talk. Spike Lee gets up there and puts up on the projector his new 30-second Nike commercial and says nothing. And everyone just like gets up and like just standing ovation for like 5 minutes. And he just bows and leaves.
I love Spike, man. He's so cool.
So yeah, he's an interesting guy. But man, he can make a movie.
He can. So from there, we got Vice, A Star Is Born, and Roma. Have you seen any of those, Sam?
I saw. I don't think I've seen any of them.
You would hate Vice. I think you.
No. Yeah, I haven't seen Vice. That's right. Okay.
You would get something from A Star Is Born, and I think you'd like Roma, but you'd hate Vice. So.
It's so interesting to hear you like guess what I would like and what I wouldn't like.
I know you would. I think you might like Vice less than Green Book, to be honest.
Oh my God.
Maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong. So Sam, of those 8 nominees, what would you say should have won? You've only seen a couple of them. What is the narrative? What do you think should have won?
I mean, Black Klansman was a very well made movie and really entertaining.
Yeah. That would have been my second pick, Black Klansman.
After what? The Favorite?
No, Roma. Roma's the best movie of 2018. It's not really close. It easily should have won, and the reason it didn't is foreign language. It was made in Mexico, which is really unfortunate. And what I hinted at earlier is the Oscars loves a story, and they missed on this story to allow their first foreign language film to win Best Picture in Roma, and it was so deserved and did not. So they followed it up with Parasite, which was no less deserving.
Right.
I think we both said we wouldn't have picked it for our winner, but it was still a very highly touted achievement in film was Parasite. So they almost gave Parasite the win to retcon their previous year, which is funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roma's the best movie of I said last year of 2018, and probably should have won. But the Academy didn't ask me, A, and we can't redo things, too. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I should get into the 2018 because I know you think it's a bad year for
Not
film
great.
generally, as you pointed out last week. But I should.
Came out in 2018. Could anything else have been? Could anything else have been nominated? I'm looking now. Let's see.
No, it was like 8 movies, and then everything else. No, just kidding. Everything else was pushed to 2019.
Yeah, seriously. I know a good friend of ours thinks Bad Times at the El Royale is one of the best movies ever made, but better than Pulp Fiction, man.
That movie, talk about an uncreative movie. Ugh.
We got oh, here we go. Battle Buster Scruggs and First Man. I think those two should have been here.
Yeah,
The Quiet Place, but yeah. So okay year, probably not as bad as I give it credit for, but not super good.
Yeah.
Sam, we got if we and when we continue this series, we have Shape of Water, and I just want to know, how excited are you? Just tell me.
I am enthralled to be talking about Shape of Water. Shape of Water, I'm actually passionate about.
In a good way.
Passionate
in a good way.
In a good way. Yeah, sure. With Green Book, I'm just kind of apathetic to it. Like, it's just so boring. With Shape of Water, I get angry about this movie. Like, it's a deep-seated rage. For a variety of reasons. So yeah,
but you've told me you think Michael Shannon as the villain is multi-dimensional and just really complex and one of the better villains.
Actually, is the word I would use. Yes, brilliant character.
Right.
It's like
right. Yep. I'm with you. And the bathtub fish sex scene too. I mean, it's probably one of the greater scenes. When you're creating like a top 20 scenes of all times to show your film class in school and film club, that's one you go to. So
I'm always just like, yes, but how do we make fish porn?
Yes.
Very nice. Yeah. So Shape of Water. I know I did say last week that Nightmare Alley is my most anticipated movie of 2021. And I know we were also talking about how M. Night Shyamalan is super inconsistent and super high and low. So, maybe Guillermo del Toro is in that mode as well.
He could just be.
But yeah, so we'll get around to Shape of Water.
We'll get there.
Hopefully
we'll get there.
Not super soon, because I actually want to see.
We're gonna skip right to Moonlight. That's what we're gonna do.
Let's skip right to Moonlight. Can we do that? God.
The legal system says we can't, but the courts mandated us. Sam, I still gotta get your star rating for one Green Book. Or do you have anything more to say?
I will give Green Book like 1 star out of 5. No, I'll give it a star. I'll give it a star and a half.
Okay.
I'll give it a star and a half. Okay.
That's
out of 5.
Raging endorsement right there.
Raging enthusiastic endorsement.
Yes. I'm gonna go 2 higher than you, 3.5. I have come down on it over time, but I still do think it's well made. I still do enjoy it and have fond memories of seeing it those 1 3/4 times. And I remember when it won, and I was disappointed, but thought okay. And the funniest thing about it is when Viggo Mortensen got onto that stage when Green Book won Best Picture, it looked like he did not know where he was. And I was like, does this dude know what day it is? Like he has no clue what's going on, which I can still see his face in my head, which is funny to me.
He's a strange fellow.
Yeah, hope you're doing okay, Vigo. We know you listen, so just email in. Tell us you're all right.
Is that man 25 or 78?
Yeah, he's nowhere in between, though. You're right.
like, I don't know what age he is, but he's a strange looking fella. Also speaks like 8 languages. So that's interesting. But
okay,
yeah.
So he's 62.
He's 62.
And he speaks Danish, Spanish, Italian, English, French, and Norwegian. Wow, 7 languages.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And it's on his Wikipedia page. It says Viggo Peter Mortensen Jr. is an American actor, author, musician, photographer, poet, and painter.
He's got a lot of interests. Okay, good for you. You know, sometimes you see that and you say poet and painter. It's like, okay, if they do one painting, that doesn't make them a painter. And I don't know how many Vigo has done, but sometimes I call bull on that kind of thing. But Sam, we got recommendations to get to for this week. I got one ready and I'm excited about it. Unless you have one.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
I'm excited about. I'm probably more excited about my recommends for the next 3 weeks because I kind of have a series of recommends I want to do. But this week, I was kind of stopping down and I was gonna start this series of recommends, but I'm like, no, I gotta do something that took up the most amount of my time this week. So I said earlier, I've been watching a lot of the NBA finals, so I haven't had a ton of time to watch movies, but what I have had time to do is listen to music at work. And anyone who knows me knows I'm not like a super huge music person, but I do listen to quite a few albums a year because I have enough time at work to where I can throw an album on, and that's no problem. And so I'm going to recommend my favorite album of the year and probably going to stay my favorite. And I almost debated not recommending this because it's been out for about a month now, but it's Olivia Rodrigo's Sour. And this is a little off brand for me, but man, oh man, that's a good album.
Really?
Yeah, dude, she's really talented. This is her first album. She's got a lot. I mean, she's 18, but she's got a lot of maturity in her lyricism. And she's a singer-songwriter, which I know I like. I know you like, Sam.
I love me a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
You know this.
Yeah, she's really good with her lyrics, and tells stories in her songs, which are good too. Without being overly long. It's an 11-song album and it's like 30 something minutes, 33 minutes. So that's also cool. But there we go. That's my recommend for the week is Olivia Rodrigo's Sour. And honestly, the 2 songs that are played on the radio, I don't listen to the radio a ton, but Driver's License was on a ton a while back, and now Good For You, the 2 hits of the album are on. And those 2 are not even close to the best songs on that album.
Okay, good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't a big fan of Driver's License. But
I don't know if you will love it, Sam, but I sure did, and I think a lot of other people will. If you've listened to just those couple hits, really give the full try. Really give the album a full try. If you enjoy those two, you'll definitely like it. But there we go. That's my recommendation.
okay, interestingly enough, this song on the album, I'm looking at the track listing now. 1 Step Forward, 3 Steps Back.
Great. Dude.
Rodrigo wrote with Taylor Swift and Jack Antonoff. And interestingly, Jack Antonoff is the frontman of a band called Bleachers, which has an album coming out very soon. And Bleachers is very, very good band. I've been really digging this.
I'll have to check the side recommend then. I'll have to check.
So side recommend, yeah. Sorry, I wasn't gonna bring that up, but good stuff. Yeah, I'll check out the album. I will.
It is really quick too, and honestly, Driver's License and Good For You, if you're really not a fan of them, they're the 2 longest songs. So if you just skip those, you'll be done in like 25 minutes.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I'm used to listening to like
Like 2-hour albums. I know you are.
I listen to like double albums with like 7-minute
Guitar
songs.
solos. Yeah, that stuff drives me nuts. I can't do that.
I know, like Dylan's album last year that I wouldn't shut up about was like a 10-song album, but it was 70 minutes long.
Yeah, that drives me crazy. Like that kind of thing just makes me go insane. And I like Dylan too. I think he again is a great lyricist, but man, just pump it a little bit, bro. Like we get it.
It's
Sam's like, I was disappointed it wasn't 90 minutes and 10 songs.
Oh, dude, I'll take what I can get. But yeah, okay. So anyway, where was I going with this? Oh, so I want to recommend this this movie I just saw last night, which is Insomnia.
Oh,
Christopher Nolan,
nice.
kind of largely considered Christopher Nolan's worst movie.
I want to check where I have it on my ranking, but I think it's
like that seems to be like
that's the consensus. You are correct.
That seems to be the consensus, and I don't think it's bad. I really enjoyed it. Actually.
Oh, just kidding. I forgot Tenet exists. Ugh.
Oh, right. You know, it's in the same category as Tenet. I mean, it's really just like a no frills, just like crime thriller. You know, there's not much about it that's really distinctively Nolan.
Well, he didn't write it, which is a big...
Yeah, he didn't write it. It's a remake of like a Norwegian film, I believe. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And Robin Williams plays kind of the main antagonist, and he's really, really good.
He's the best part of the movie for sure.
And I put in my review, I legitimately do think that Pacino and Williams had some legitimate chemistry there. Like it was, the scenes they're together in are really well done. Obviously, you need the plot context to appreciate it, but I think it was worth checking out. So, Insomnia.
Yeah, good. How many Nolan movies do you have left, or is that it?
I think that's all of them. No, I haven't seen. I haven't seen the last Dark Knight, the Dark Knight Rises.
Gotcha.
I never got around to that.
I'm assuming you haven't seen Following either, like his student film in the 90s.
Oh, right. Yeah, that doesn't count, I guess.
Okay.
Where do you even find that?
Dude, I don't even know. It is well made. If you can find it, check it out. If not, don't feel bad about it though. It's kind of interesting seeing him at really low stakes as well. But
yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. All right.
Right.
Well, we'll be back next week, obviously. But until then, Sam, where can I find you on the Letterboxd?
You can find me on the Letterboxd at letterboxd.com/sjdierberger. And where can I find you, Will Spalding?
Yeah, you can find us driving to our concerts in the South. And you can also find us at anchor.fm/thosefilmnerds and thosefilmnerds.weebly.com and thosefilmnerds on all podcast platforms and YouTube and other places like Gmail. Email anything in, movie related. We'd love to talk about it. But Sam, until next time.
Keep watching movies, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Ever thought about making a podcast? Well, Anchor is the easiest and simplest way to do so. Let me explain. For starters, it's free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone, laptop, or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on multiple platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and much, much more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast in one place, so give it a try.